You know, when you say politics, that there was a lot of politics that went into it. I mean,
yes.
some may think, does that suggest that politics is inherently bad? Because we've seen politics across the world.
Yes.
They could play politics positively and rescue the girls and do the right things.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Politics is not inherently wrong. In point of fact, the reason why there is democracy is because of politics. Without politics, you can't have democracy. So politics is not inherently wrong. But if you play it wrongly, negatively, it will impact negatively on the society, and that is what we have seen happening presently in Nigeria. Thankfully, there's now a convergence of efforts, as it were, by all and sundry to get these girls rescued. However, it tells a lot about the kind of society we have found ourselves, that it was upon the rescue of so many girls that there was this groundswell of emotions. People have been abducted. Upon the abduction of these girls.
This is being optimistic.
I am being optimistic, thank you. Upon the abduction of these girls, that we saw the groundswell of emotions. Prior to that incident, there have been abductions, and probably on a cumulative calculation, you may have found, we may agree that there may have been more than 200 abductions before that one wholesome abduction of 200 girls.
Do you think that explains? Because right now we're beginning to see different, shades of the same protest. You know, we have Bring Back Our Girls now. We have Release Our Girls. We're having some other shades, colorations. What do you make of all of this?
What I make of it is that the idea, the spirit should be free our girls. The spirit should be release our girls. And that would be a message to Boko Haram. Not a message, not a focus against the government or against the federal government or against the state government.
Do you really think that that is what it is? Because let us also bear in mind that we have had offers from international community. We've had the UK, US, and we've also seen prominent leaders in those countries also hold up that slogan, Bring Back Our Girls. Do you think that they could have been offering assistance?
There are two groups. There are the innocent Bring Back Our Girls, and there are the politicized Bring Back Our Girls. And I am very sure about that. The politicized Bring Back Our Girls are saying that the federal government should go bring back our girls. I don't think that the federal government is not stepping feet forward in getting to rescue the girls. Neither is the state government also staying static in going to rescue the girls. So a message to the federal government to go
I'm simply saying that in reacting to the harm we perceived is politicized.
Yes.
And, because what we're answering to, or what we seem to be replying to, is the slogan of Bring Back Our Girls.
Yes.
Which we say, no, it shouldn't be so. It should be Release Our Girls. Yes. Are we also, by extension, referring to these other people who have been carrying the slogans outside our country?
No, that's what I'm saying. There are the innocent Bring Back Our Girls, and there are the politicized Bring Back Our Girls. Those ones outside our country, they are the innocent Bring Back Our Girls. And some of us here, too, in Nigeria, are also the innocent Bring Back Our Girls. But they are the politicized elements of Bring Back Our Girls. And therefore, it becomes imperative for us
really matter
to redefine the message.
Who are the people who say are politicized?
Of course, it's not for us, it's not for me to come here to tell you who are the people who are politicizing it. But when you should put in efforts at achieving a solution, you continue to blame somebody for what the person did or what the person didn't do. You would know that there is a waste of energy into the wrong tunnel. What we should all be doing, it should be collective effort, collective condemnation, as it were, of Boko Haram. And collective condemnation of Boko Haram will be where the entire Nigeria speaks with one voice in unison, saying, free our girls, Boko Haram, free our girls, Boko Haram, release our girls, no to terrorism. Pass the message across to anybody who is a sympathizer of Boko Haram and to Boko Haram itself. If you keep fighting the government by saying, bring back our girls, you are making it, you are giving it on a platter, on a plate, to Boko Haram. That is exactly the intention that they have at the back of their minds in doing what they are doing.
Can we really free ourselves of the blame game?
I think that we should get results first. And then we start looking at the blame game and know where we acted wrongly with a view to correcting it for future purposes. We cannot free ourselves from the blame game. But if your house is on fire, for example, and let's say it's your son or your daughter that set the house on fire unwittingly, mistakenly, it does not pay for you to start beating the child or fighting the child or start blaming the child at that point instead of going to fight the fire. It is better you go fight the fire, put off the fire, and then you come back to address the issue of where the fire started. That is the point.
Do you see us rising above all of this religious, ethnic messages that some politicians try to sow to divide, especially young people who are the future of this country?
Yes, it's utopian to expect presently that Nigeria can go beyond ethnicity or religion. It only behooves on a few of us, the elites, that are educated, to continue the message of one Nigeria, of patriotism. But you cannot run away from ethnicity. In fact, the bedrock of Nigeria today is ethnicity. The point is that we are using that ethnicity wrongly. We are using it negatively. It is the strength of Nigeria, the diversity of Nigeria. There's no way you cannot recognize the different diversities that Nigeria has, and then try to make use of that diversity, those diversities, to our advantage. What is happening is that those diversities are being used to our disadvantage.
Yeah, but at what point? Because, I mean,
yes,
those days you went to school with brothers in the north, in the south, east, and the west, and yes, nobody saw any problem. But at what point did you think, or do you think that something went wrong? And then these divisive messages began coming up?
You see, something has always been wrong with Nigeria. There has never been a point.
Always.
Yes, always, yes.
Oh,
since
dear.
1914, when we were amalgamated, we ought to ourselves. We were blind. We were blindfolded. You asked for a road, and somebody blindfolds you up to a particular junction, and there's a signpost directing you to where you are going. When you get to the junction and the blindfold is removed from your eyes, it behoves upon you to be sure that that is where you ought to be, and therefore you follow the direction that you are seeing. That is, you have now started using your abilities. We have refused to use our self-abilities in fashioning out the kind of Nigeria that we ought to have. And that kind of Nigeria is a Nigeria that is unified with a recognition of our diversities. And that ought to have started in 1914. Where it did not start in 1914, by 1960, just after independence, we ought to have addressed it. So it was just that some of these things were swept under the carpet.
Is the conference addressing that now?
I doubt that the conference is addressing it. Unfortunately, the selection process...
I thought that was one of the demands of the people before the conference was convoked.
That's the point I'm making. I think one of the problems that the conference may be facing is the fact that the people that are in the conference, some of them are brilliant people, patriotic Nigerian citizens, but a lot of them are not actually representing the people. It would have been nicer, tidier, if they had subjected themselves to election from the people, and the people would tell them exactly what they want. But this mode of selection, I think it's a fire brigade approach, and we are seeing the results.
Well, I got some questions coming through here. Ikeji thinks that the army shouldn't have announced the sighting.
Yeah.
Okay, sighting, but here sighting of Chibok girls until they are recovered and avoid sabotage. And he now says, look, so are they now going to tell us, are we dealing with a hostage situation? So many questions will always follow up that announcement.
Yes.
Well,
I think it's a military officer, not just a military officer, a chief of defense staff at that. I don't think it will be fair to say that he didn't know what he was doing.
That's not what he's saying here. He's just asking that he thinks they should not have. But is it a catch-22 situation now? Because the people who are asking, bring back our girls and release our girls.
Yes.
The authorities have got to act.
Yes.
And so in acting,
it's neither here nor there.
This announcement has come up.
Yes, I think to sort of smolder, as it were, sort of assuage the feelings of Nigerians, their emotions. I think that message that these girls have been cited, I think it passes some kind of reassurance message to Nigerians. Strategically, I think that the CDS will not be lost at knowing what is strategically right to say or do.
Let's end with the conference.
Yes.
What do you think that conference will address?
should address or will address?
Will address. Because you have said it's not addressing certain problems or certain challenges that were for which it was set up for.
Yes.
What then do you think it will address at the end of the day?
I think, you see, first, let me lay the foundation. The need for the national conference started from the recognition, the acceptance, the appreciation of the fact that Nigeria needed change. And then, as the conference was inaugurated, we saw a situation of the status quo, those who are benefiting from what is presently obtained in Nigeria, being on one side, and those wanting change being on the other side. So my take on what will be achieved would be that probably the status quo, to a large extent, may still be retained with what I am saying at the national conference, except there's a radical departure from the tendencies presently. And one of those radical departures would be that all shades of opinions, including minority reports, should be brought to the table and debated and voted upon.
Why are they called minority if that were the case?
The minority is in the committee, not in the plenary. Remember, they were chosen into committees.
Okay. Ikechukwu Ikeji, thank you for coming on this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for
having me. Well, we've got more perspective for you today on the program. Join us again.